I've always been telling myself this is where generational curses end. This is where generational trauma ends. This is where generational sickness ends. This is where generational financial problems end. Like, I'm not gonna pass it to another generation. This is where it ends. Welcome to the Chains and Choices podcast, breaking free from cycles and embracing new possibilities. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Chains and Choices podcast, where we break cycles and embrace new opportunities. Now, in the first episode, we talked about breaking free, recognizing the chains we carry, and the choices that shape our life. But today, I want to slow things down because before we can break the chains, we have to understand them. And when I say chains, I don't just mean pain, I mean patterns, the habits we repeat, the relationship we keep choosing, are the emotional responses that feel automatic even when they hurt us. I know some chains come from our childhood, some come from the families we were raised in, and some are passed down quietly, generation after generation. And yeah, maybe you grew up watching silence replace communication, or anger replace safety, or survival replace joy. Maybe love was conditional, maybe struggle was normal, maybe pain was never talked about, just inherited. These are generational cycles, and often we don't even realize we are living them until we see ourselves repeating them. I have to take you through a personal struggle and awareness. And then there are the personal chains that no one else can see. I mean, a personal struggle I have been struggling with is about the fear of being heard. It's something growing up, we weren't given that space to express ourselves authentically. And that's why I've worked on myself day by day to be this authentic. And that's the reason right now I'm here talking to you about the chains and choices. You have been in chains, but you have a choice of not really living in them and breaking free. Okay? While we were growing up, as I've said, we weren't given that space to express ourselves. And that's why I endured that, embraced that chain, and made a choice of being authentically myself. And that's why I do a lot of public speaking. I do lifestyle content. I can literally just take my phone and start recording anywhere and just being authentically myself because I worked and walked out of my chains and made a choice of making myself, or rather becoming, the most authentic self I've ever met. Some of us are battling self doubt, fear of abandonment, the need to prove yourself, or the belief that you are only worthy when you are useful. I had this friend who had the fear of being betrayal, because the parents betrayed her, the father betrayed her trust, the mother the same thing. So she was always like, I'm always in fear of betrayal. That is a trait, something that has been passed because the sisters, the siblings have the same chain, the same fear. But trust me, this is your safe space that I'll help you overcome that chain and have a choice. You have to make a choice, a wise decision, a choice, and say that I'm gonna get out of this particular chain. I'm gonna get out of this particular chain of self doubt, the fear of abandonment, and everything else, and everything else. Okay? And these struggles don't mean you're broken, they mean you learned how to survive. Okay? But again, the truth is that while we may be born into chains, we are not bound to them forever, as I said in the first episode. This is where choices come in. And there's the power of choice. Choice doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy, it means you become aware. You choose whether to repeat the pattern or to question it. Okay? You choose whether to stay in a relationship that drain you or to surround yourself with people who help you grow. And again, this is your safest space to grow. This is your space. This is your moment to outgrow that chain and make a choice. Okay? You choose whether generational pain ends with you or continues through you. One thing I've always been telling myself, this is where generational curses end. This is where generational trauma ends. This is where generational sickness ends. This is where generational financial problems end. Like, I'm not gonna pass it to another generation. This is where it ends. Okay? I'm putting an end to that. Um I'm putting an end to that generational trauma, sickness, problems, curses, and everything. Okay? Rewriting your story doesn't mean erasing your past, it means learning from it. Once you identify that particular thing you've been struggling with, please make a point of working on it and learning from it. Okay? Don't just run away from it. And rewriting your story doesn't mean erasing the past, it means from you basically learning from it. I mean, it means saying this hurt me, but it won't define me. This was passed down, but it stops here. The same thing I've been doing. This is where generational curses ends. This is where generational traumas end. This is where generational sickness ends. If you ever felt stuck in the same cycles, if you ever wondered why some patterns keep showing up in your life, this podcast is for you, because awareness is the first break in the chain, and choice is how we create a new legacy. I mean, this is Chain and Choices podcast, and this is where we learn together how to rewrite our story. Thank you so much, and that was our episode 2. I'm gonna be making it easy for you all because this is the most ill version of Nina you'll ever meet. And I can tell you for sure that I started working on this podcast on the 1st January of 2025, and now I'm recording the first episode, or rather, the first and the second episode on 30th December 2025. I've been working a lot. Learning from planning to executing and now shooting it. I mean, it's been God. And thank you so much for being here. Make sure if you resonate with this podcast, to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and reshare the link with friends and family extensively so that we can heal together. Remember, this is our space, this is our moment. See you. Bye.